Time now for your forewarned weather with Chief Meteorologist Alana Brophy.
You know, it was hazy to start the day, smoggy to end it, but that is the story when you're dealing with inversion conditions. Thank you, Jamie, for sharing this one this morning from Ogden, where you can see, well, barely see the mountains. That's the situation we have been dealing with because of these conditions. Time-lapse video coming from Cache Valley. Now, the inversion up in Cache Valley looked a lot worse today than where it was yesterday, but that is really the pattern here. We deal with those conditions really strengthening, and it becomes smog. Nelson Peak, our A-plus garage camera. This is above the inversion layer, looking towards the Tooele Valley. This is also over the Salt Lake Valley. That's what we're breathing in. Yeah, it acts as a lid as that warmer air moves in above it and kind of traps it. This was the view earlier this evening from different locations along the Wasatch Front. You can see that Logan shot really tells the story of Cache Valley, but can't make out the Lake Mountains in Utah County. The Salt Lake Valley was brutal, even from the higher elevations looking down. It doesn't look great, and we're going to hold on to unhealthy air as we head into tomorrow. We're going to see it in Davis, Utah, and Salt Lake County. It's unhealthy air for sensitive groups when it hits the orange. So if you are an asthmatic, maybe you have respiratory issues, cardiac issues, you maybe feel this a little more than other folks. Moderate air with elevated particulate matter expected for Cache Valley, Box Elder County, Tooele County, the Wasatch back, because yes, mountain valleys are part of this, and then northeastern Utah. Several times today, we had Utah cities in the top 10 for the worst air quality in the country. We don't love to be on that top 10. But we've been there this week. Cleaner air in Grand County and down in southern Utah as we get through our Thursday. We don't want to be outdoors too much, especially in the counties with unhealthy air, because in the short term, you could see some side effects. That includes the eye and sinus irritation. Your throat maybe feels it, headaches long term. I don't even want to look at that because unfortunately, this is a longer stretch and we're seeing it for the first time in a while. But yeah, there are long-term impacts of breathing in this air. So we want to be extremely careful and limit our time outdoors. The inversion layer climbed even higher today, and we noticed it in our mountain valleys at 7,000 feet from our cameras. Places like Jordanelle could pick up on the haze, and this is what it looked like in Heber. Hazy conditions at the airport, and that continues into tomorrow with moderate air expected. Temperatures made it into the 40s, mid-60s in St. George. That is 11 degrees above average, so that high pressure bringing the 50s and 60s to southern Utah. We're a bit more moderated in the north because of those conditions. So we're freezing with the haze, but that means some nocturnal fog in places like the Bear River Valley, Cache Valley, cold temperatures with the upper 20s along the Wasatch Front as you leave the house tomorrow morning. At high pressure centered up to our west, keeping us dry as well. So we're not just battling bad air, we're incredibly dry to kick off 2026. I don't have to tell you that. Look at our average seasonal snowfall. This is brutal and hard to see. Only a tenth in Salt Lake City. Usually by this point in the season, we're around 25 inches, just not the case in Salt Lake or Provo. Now, our southern Utah valleys like Cedar City doing a little better with the storms that have moved through. They're at 8 inches, but typically over 22. And look at Logan. They're roughly 20 inches short of average, which we don't love to say at this point in the season. I will say there's still time for a pattern shift and a more progressive storm track to come in and help us out. It's not happening in the immediate future. We've got that haze, high pressure building, and you see that jet stream further north. Now, as we head towards the weekend, the high centers up towards the Pacific Northwest, sending a trough towards the northern plains with cooler air moving in and the chance of some mixing with the winds. That could clear inversion. Not super likely, but it definitely could take the edge off. Maybe it will clear some counties, starts to build back by the weekend and into next week because we don't have a storm in sight. Our best chance for wet weather is January 22nd. I mean, that's when a wetter pattern starts to show up on our 6 to 10 day outlook. We could maybe shift and we will welcome it with open arms. 20s and teens, especially in outlying areas. We will see those numbers in the 30s overnight in St. George. Highs in the 40s, pushing in northern Utah, but we know the air quality is going to be rough and smog can moderate those numbers. 50s along I-15, 60s again in St. George, where it's dry for the next 7. That includes MLK Day. A very dry pattern sets up for both southern and northern Utah with hazy conditions. I'm optimistic, so I ease the haze into Saturday. Looks like it comes back Sunday and could hold until the middle of next week. Ooh, not my favorite either. Let's hang in there together. We'll send it back over to you guys.
And we're hanging